So now we will start on the first block. Okay, our first speaker is Rita Araujo. I will present her very quickly. She's team leader of the Environment, Climate and Health team in the Directorate General of Research and Innovation, DGRTD, as we used to say, at the European Commission in Brussels. She oversees, in this role, she oversees and contributes to the design and implementation of the Horizon Europe work programs for health research specifically, and with a very focus on environment, climate, and health research topics. She also works in project clusters, okay, helping them translate the knowledge and data into policy and practice, and fostering collaboration between research outcomes and the larger policy-making system, which is not a small thing to do. Prior to her time in the DGRTD, Rita spent several years working as scientific officer in the Commission's Joint Research Center in Ispra, Italy. And she comes from an academic background in biology. Rita will be the first speaker talking us about some insights about EU-funded research policies aiming to reduce the impacts of pollution on human health. So the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Can I have
Yes, you just have to do next.
to click? Okay. Thank you very much and good afternoon. It is really a big pleasure to be here today in the kickoff meeting of the Expo HealthNet cluster. And in the next 10 minutes, I will try to show how important and how powerful is the EU-funded research to inform policies on the environmental impacts of pollution on human health. Okay. So in this slide that will become very crowded and confusing in a while, I just want to show how the publications, scientific publications, and also publications in the press, well, it's not...
The computer is there, so you have to...
I have to... Okay. I thought it was this way. Okay, this way then. To show the number of publications that are pointing out to an increase in the environmental pollution and in its impacts on human health. So it's really huge. And all this evidence and concerns from the society and from the scientists will lead to action. And I will take just a moment to focus in this very narrow piece of EU policy that is only focusing on micro and nanoplastics, but I think it shows very clearly how a number of policy initiatives, regulations are driven by the increasing evidence in a certain area. And to continue to adopt these policies and to feed these policies, it's really, really important to have strong evidence, robust evidence in these areas and solutions that can help to drive these policies further. Okay, it works now. Now focusing only on the part of research, you can see here in the left side of the slide the number of publications since, I don't know, since 1989 until 2026 in this area of research, and you see that it's really a big increase over time. And reflecting these, of course, research policies always show the same trends. So we have here in the right side of the slide the framework and research programs from FP5 until the first 4 years of Horizon Europe, where we can see also a big increase in the allocation of budget to the area of research on environment, climate and health, with the last framework program represented in brown with really a significant increase in budget. So this really shows the importance and the commitment of the Commission in relation to funding this area of research. What are we funding in this portfolio? This slide here shows in the left the number of projects and on the right the allocation of budget to different areas of research that are inside this portfolio. We can see here the categories. And if you look, you see that really pollution represents a big part of the research that is funded. You can look at categories like nanomaterials and microplastics, or urban health, air quality, noise, and several others that show really this allocation of resources to pollution. And from the top of my head, if I think about Horizon Europe, that started in 2021, we funded a call on indoor air quality and health, another one on electromagnetic fields, one on the costs of pollution, health costs of pollution. Then in 2023, one on endocrine disruptors, one on planetary health that also has a big component of pollution. In 2024, the call that these projects are part of on non-communicable diseases and pollution. And then in 2025, I'll talk about that in a minute. I'd just like to take a bit of time to talk about the current framework program of research and innovation, which is Horizon Europe. It started in 2021. It will run until 2027. And it is the biggest, the largest framework program of research and innovation to date, because it has 95 million allocated to it. This is the structure of the program. I will not go in detail through the structure, but you can see Pillar 1 is excellent science, Pillar 2 is collaborative research, and Pillar 3 is more focused on innovation. And in Pillar 2, something that I would like to highlight is that it addresses global challenges that are reflected here in the thematic clusters, but a very important part is also the part on competitiveness. And this marks a shift from previous framework programs, which started already in H2020, where excellence is, of course, and continues to be very important, but impact is also a very important part of the research that we are funding. And before moving to the next slide, I would like just to say that we have a full destination in Pillar 2 that is dedicated to environment and health research. And that's also where these projects are funded, the projects from this cluster. Okay. So, Work Program 25. In Work Program 25, we continue to fund pollution and health. You see that we are allocating 80 million euros to one call on the impacts of pollution on brain diseases and disorders, another call on the impacts of micro and nanoplastics on human health. These calls were closed, the first stage of the calls were closed last week. And that brings us to where do we go next? So the framework program, the current framework program Horizon Europe, will finish in 2027. The calls of 2025 were published. 2026, 2027, we are finishing now drafting the text of the calls. The drafts are already publicly available, and they will be published in the coming months. So as you know, we have a new commission that took office last year and established priorities for the new legislative term. Several of these priorities that are here highlighted in blue are very relevant to this area of research. We have also a proposal that was published in July this year for the new framework program. It will still FP10. It will be called Horizon Europe because the brand was very successful, but it's called Horizon Europe 2028-2034. It will be a self-standing program, but it will have a very strong connection to competitiveness, so it will be developed in close cooperation with the European Competitiveness Fund. You have here the structure of the program. It's a lot of things are a continuity, but there are also several novelties. The budget of the program almost doubles compared to the previous one. So Pillar 1 is still excellent science, and then you have Pillar 2 where collaborative research is happening, and then you have innovation, and the Pillar 4 that is a new pillar that is European Research Area. So in Pillar 2, we still have, we don't have clusters anymore. We have key competitiveness challenges. And you see here that health is grouped together with biotech, agriculture, and bioeconomy under the same challenge. So if we look in a bit of more detail to Pillar 2, You see that the budget is distributed like this, so there is still a big budget for the competitiveness challenge where health is placed. There is a lot of focus on impact in this work program, together with, as I said, competitiveness. And then you have, in the same pillar, society. It has global societal challenges like migration, disinformation, and I don't remember the other one. EU missions will continue, partnerships as well in a revisited form, and then we have the new European Bauhaus. So I would just like to finish now referring to the clusters. This is an approach that we have been putting in place since some years now. So we have now a big portfolio of clusters addressing different issues. As you see, I will not go into the details, but you see that is a very big budget allocated to these, a lot of projects, lots of research groups involved, so it's a very powerful tool. And why do we cluster the projects? So the main reason is because we want to increase impact and coordination between projects that are funded under the same call, so they are answering to the same research questions and challenges, so there is a lot of potential to promote synergies and networking and capacity building, and impact in communication and impact in providing feedback to policy. And I will just like to finish with some images of joint products that were delivered by the clusters for inspiration. So newsletters, workshops, research roadmaps at the end of the cluster activities, kick-off meetings like the one of today, policy briefs, and other communication materials. And that's all from my side. If you want to know more about this portfolio, you have here several resources that you can explore further. And I will now give the floor to my colleague from DG Environment.